Hi friends, I welcome you all in this exciting training session being conducted by TNV Academy. Today, in this session, we will discuss about Clause 5 of ISO 45001-2018, which talks about leadership and worker participation. So, let's get going and start our discussion. Let me explain you that what we will be covering in this session. The Clause 5 of ISO 45001-2018 has total 4 subclauses, that is, subclause 5.1, 5.2, 5.3 and 5.4. In this session, we will be discussing about Clause 5, which talks about leadership and worker participation in an organizational, occupational health and safety management system, along with subclause 5.1, which talks about top management commitment towards the successful implementation of occupational health and safety management system. Now, let us understand about the internal references taken by clause 5 and subclause 5.1. As far as clause 5 is concerned, it has very limited requirement and thus does not take any reference from any clause within the standard. However, for understanding the requirements of subclause 5.1, it is important that one should have complete understanding of clause 5.4 of ISO 45001-2018 and what it states. Also, it takes reference from Annex A, which is defined within the standard. Annex A defines the list of terms and their meaning used within the standard under several clauses so that there is no misinterpretation of any of them. Now, let me tell you what are the takeaway of this session. At the end of this chapter, you will be able to understand what is leadership, how an organization's top management shows that it is committed towards the implementation of occupational health and safety management system. What steps does an organization takes to prevent impacts on its occupational health and safety management system? So, let us begin our discussion with a brief definition of leadership. Well, if we take the formal definition, then leadership is the ability of an individual or a group of individuals to influence and guide the subordinates and other members of the organization. It means that leadership is an attribute to an individual or maybe a group of people to make their peers do what they want them to do in a way. It means that leadership is an attribute of an individual or maybe a group of people to make their peers do what they want them to do in a way that is effective for the organization. The Clause 5 of ISO 45001-2018 states that an organization provides guidance on how to demonstrate leadership in relation to the occupational health and safety management system and how it ensures adequate worker participation in its development, implementation, and improvement. This clause encompasses the following: demonstrating leadership and commitment, developing an occupational health and safety policy, outlining roles, responsibilities, and authorities for the occupational health and safety management system, defining the processes necessary for consultation and participation of workers. Now, let us talk about the requirements of subclause 5.1 in detail. The subclause 5.1 of ISO 45001-2018 states that top management shall demonstrate leadership and commitment with respect to the occupational health and safety management system by point 1. Taking overall responsibility and accountability for the prevention of work-related injury and ill health, as well as the provision of safe and healthy workplaces and activities. Point 2. Ensuring that the occupational health and safety policy and related occupational health and safety objectives are established and are compatible with the strategic direction of the organization. Point 3. Ensuring the integration of the occupational health and safety management system requirements into the organization's business processes. Point 4. Ensuring that the resources needed to establish, implement, maintain, and improve the occupational health and safety management system are available. Point 5. Communicating the importance of effective occupational health and safety management and of conforming to the occupational health and safety management system requirements. Point 6. Ensuring that the occupational health and safety management system achieves its intended outcomes. Point 7. Directing and supporting persons to contribute to the effectiveness of the occupational health and safety management system. Point 8. Ensuring and promoting continual improvement. Point 9. Supporting other relevant management roles to demonstrate their leadership as it applies to their areas of responsibility. Point 10. Developing, leading, and promoting a culture in the organization that supports the intended outcomes of the occupational health and safety management system. Point 11. Protecting workers from reprisals when reporting incidents, hazards, risks, and opportunities. Point 12. Ensuring the organization establishes and implements a process for consultation and participation of workers. See 5.4. Point 13. Supporting the establishment and functioning of health and safety committees. See 5.4e. Here is an important note. Reference to business in this document can be interpreted broadly to mean those activities that are core to the purposes of the organization's existence. Leadership, commitment, and active support from top management are critical for the success of occupational health and safety management system and for the achievement of its intended outcomes. Top management establishes an organization's mission, vision, and values considering its context, the needs, and expectations of its relevant interested parties and business objectives. These are reflected in its strategic business plans. Top management's leadership and commitments are vital for the successful implementation of an effective occupational health and safety management system. Therefore, top management must take responsibility for the effectiveness of the organization's occupational health and safety management system and ensure that its intended outcomes are achieved. If workers observe top management taking occupational health and safety responsibility seriously, this will greatly assist in the establishment of a positive occupational health and safety culture throughout the organization. Leadership and commitment can be shown by aligning the occupational health and safety management system with the organization's business objectives, ensuring the necessary resources are available, encouraging workers and other relevant interested parties to get actively involved in improving occupational health and safety performance, involving everyone in occupational health and safety decision making that affects them, promoting open discussion about occupational health and safety matters. The organization can improve the occupational health and safety culture by, for example, providing clear and consistent leadership, promoting formal and informal involvement of workers, making sure controls are practical and relatable to the risk. This clause places requirements on top management to assign relevant responsibilities and support other relevant management roles to demonstrate their leadership as it applies to their areas of responsibility. The expectations from leaders within an organization is to become champions of the system and to provide the necessary resources to protect workers from harm. An important way top management demonstrates leadership is by encouraging workers to report incidents, hazards, risks, and opportunities, and by protecting workers against consequences, such as the threat of dismissal or disciplinary action when they do so. Top management should communicate the importance of effective occupational health and safety management and conformance to occupational health and safety management system requirements by direct involvement or through delegation of authority as appropriate. This communication can be formal or informal. Top management should support others in the organization in relevant managerial roles so that they in turn can demonstrate leadership in their own area of responsibility. By this means, top management's leadership and commitment cascades down through the organization. By demonstrating leadership and commitment, top management can direct and support employees of the organization and others doing work on its behalf to achieve the intended outcomes for its occupational health and safety management system. Friends, I hope you are clear about the requirements of Clause 5 and Subclause 5.1. Let us move on and discuss the other important components of this session. So now we will learn about the mandatory documents that an organization has to maintain while meeting the requirements of Clause 5 and Subclause 5.1. As far as both the clauses are concerned, they do not demand an organization to keep a documented information on its leadership and commitment towards its occupational health and safety management system. And last but not the least, let us understand the common mistakes which auditors do while performing audit under Clause 5 and Subclause 5.1 of ISO 45001-2018. Mistake number 1. Auditor asks irrelevant questions for the organization which does not relate with the organization to be audited. Mistake number 2. Sometimes auditors start thinking for the option, while auditors need to understand the client process and to decide if the client can achieve the result of the MSS through their own process. Mistake number 3. Auditors start consulting activities. Mistake number 4. Auditors start expecting document and records in clause where this may not be mandatory requirement. Mistake number 5. Auditors start asking for documents that are not relevant to the requirements of the clause or standard. For example, GST registration, FSSAI registration, etc. Dear friends, we have now come to the conclusion of this training session. See you soon with an exciting new topic. Till then, goodbye.